Well, good day, friend. This video is about psychic connection and development. The word psyche also means soul. So for those of you that are programmed, to be blunt, to think that psychic means something negative or bad, it is your soul. It is your very beingness. It's your true beingness beyond your carnal mind's interpretation. It's the truest part of you. So if you're scared of it, that's validating your own disconnection from it. Let's get you connected to it so that you may benefit from it. As I began developing psychically, and by psychically in this manner, I guess the practice I was doing was I was beginning to receive spiritual revelation, whether it was seeing things, hearing things, knowing things, sensing things with my soul's sense, psychically, with the soul. As I was developing that, fairly quickly into it, I'd say maybe within the first month, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit sooner, Jesus came to me in spirit. And I had been told to rest. And then it became more clear. Now it was to fast. And then what Jesus brought to my awareness was when he did his 40-day fast in the desert. And the fast was not a fasting of food, but instead was a stimulation fast. Meaning no social media. Pull back from everything. I pulled back from technology in all ways. Because those things have you so focused externally and so stimulated, so highly stimulated, that it just changes how you are consciously. It's distracting you so consistently and so deeply away from your own nature, your own soul, your own psyche, that you don't really get time to investigate and develop and cultivate what it means to move from the soul, from the psyche. And what I've found in teaching this psychic development a little bit more, as well as my own experience can validate it, because on days where I do use technology more, and I do tolerate or allow myself to be distracted and stimulated by such, I can see how it pulls my attention away from awareness of the soul. It distracts me from it, pulls me out of it. So for anybody really intending to develop these things, I would definitely encourage, and it's something that I still do periodically. I haven't done it so recently because, in different manners, because we just moved into a new home and we did have kind of timelines of getting things set up, and it was a pretty thorough process. It's still ongoing, but now I have more space to return to my routine, where it might be something like no technology really for me at all as far as incoming stimulation, maybe through the whole morning, just to really wake up, be centered, and get a really substantial amount of expression taken care of. So most of these videos are recorded in the morning. I've got other projects, spiritual or psyche projects, that I take care of primarily in the morning, where I have that time where I'm giving myself specifically, so I'm not allowing myself to be distracted by other things, so that it keeps my intention and attention. Intention is inward, attention is at, specifically. Attention. Keeps my intention and attention primed for the task at hand, rather than distracted and stimulated away. So there's even things such as not necessarily just like technology, but even things like, we'll say, chocolate and sugar that really create this energetic response within us that ungrounds us. It unsettles us. It like what it does is it almost creates an excessive amount of expressive mental energy. And that influences our whole experience, from our body to our environment. So when a person's seriously talking about getting into this development and they want to take it really seriously, this is where the stimulations can be considered to be reduced and removed. When I did my fast, it was a little better, if I recall correctly, a little better than 20 days that I gave myself. And I haven't had the inspiration to return to it fully from spirit. I haven't had the inspiration from it. I haven't had the pull. I haven't had the inspiration. But I do see how my own experience validates the necessity of it, because I still maintain an intent of being a certain way, in a certain manner, and having a certain expression. So I can see where the stimulation becomes too much and I have to pull back, but I still maintain certain routines that help instill it and cultivate it, right? So it doesn't mean that you can't ever do these things that are stimulatory ever again, but it's just a process of development. And it's very, very helpful to remove distractions. When you're trying to first start out and you're trying to understand what stillness is, and you're trying to get in that receptive state, the receptive state is relaxation. So you can't be relaxed and have a stimulated mind, because the mind influences your ability to relax or be stressed. You know what I mean? So if we remove that stimulation, that just promotes the relaxation, that just promotes the groundedness. Which makes the receptive state natural. It just makes it right there. It's convenient. It's accessible. And so when you're intending to develop these things, you're already in that accessible state. You're already in that essential receptive state. You're not so wound up and distracted from it. That's not to say that on a very stimulated day, I could still, at this point, and I've been here for a while already, kind of doing it, but I could have a very stimulated day, and when I want to connect to spirit, I can still connect, because I know how to do it in my mind now. I know how to deliberately turn it on. However, in all those other moments where I'm being stimulated, it's still not the best experience. It's still not the most enjoyable, relaxed, connected experience that I could be having. Right? So there's always that. By tolerating that, I'm actually giving myself contrast to the receptive, connected state. You know what I mean? So it's ebb and flows. And I get less tolerance for it at times, that stimulation, lifestyle or habits. You get less tolerance from it, because now you know that there is another option. And when you've experienced another option, the value of that other option. This is spirit saying this is validating the contrast of the ego and spirit. It's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. The law of creation right there. The perfection of creation. Once you taste the receptive state, once you taste that experience of your soul to a certain extent, and you step out of it, you stepped into the discomfort and unease and resistance of the ego, you only tolerate that so much before you're like, okay, I got to go back and replenish. That's what meditation is. That's what mindfulness is. And I can also be involved in some of these stimulatory practices or life habits and maintain mindfulness. I can. But I don't always do it. And when I don't do it, it drains you. It drains you. Because you're cutting yourself off from that source of nourishment. Again, I'll remind you, I put this in a previous video, and I haven't heard this elsewhere. You don't need to do a single thing to maintain the vibrancy of your soul. Your soul's eternal. You don't need vitamin D. You don't need fish oil. You don't need prayer. Your soul is eternal and is the source of replenishment. The soul is replenished. So once you align with it, it's your source. It's your innate source of replenishment. We just haven't learned to consider that because how many people have influences that speak of such, right? But there you go. I just wanted to put a video out on this stimulation. The mind busying that we do and how it is the obstacle. It is the obstacle to the receptive state. The receptive state is considering incoming information. When you're so stimulated, you're not worried about anything that's incoming. You're all focused on outgoing, external. And then you're interpreting the external with the carnal mind yet, which, keeps the disconnection going. Promotes the disconnection. All right, there you have it. There you have it. There may be times where I'm inspired to do a weekly practice once we grow this community a little bit more. Promote a weekly practice where we can all do a similar thing at the same time, work on something all at the same time for a little bit of an extended period, and share our experiences. And we'll see. You would see how these types of things become validated. And once you validate them experientially, that is the truth. That is the truth that you may use for discerning other things, right? So there you go. Love you, friend. Have an awesome day.